Let's talk to Andy MacDonald, Middlesbrough MP, Shadow Secretary of State for Transport. Mr MacDonald, good morning to you.
Morning, Mike.
And you're meeting Chris Grayling, aren't you, who's visiting Middlesbrough?
Oh, I'm not, no. He hasn't invited me. So,
but he is visiting the borough, but you're not meeting him.
No. I think we do see a lot of each other in London, so I think he has a particular schedule in mind, and no doubt he'll have his opportunity up in Martin and then go back to London. So I don't know whether he's going to come into the town hall to talk to the local authority about their transport analysis and the asks that they have, but I'm not in charge of his diary, sadly.
So if you were to see him today, what would you say to him?
Well, there's a number of issues that impact upon us locally. I know he's going to be focusing upon a particular problem in terms of the Martin Crawl, as we describe it. But I think there are other issues that we need to embrace. Your last discussion with Leanna was absolutely on the money. We've got to widen out the offer that is made in terms of public transport. In London, it's attractive, it's cost-effective, and everybody uses public transport in London. It's not seen as a poor person's option. It's something that everybody uses, and that's why it works so well. Sadly, in our part of the world, we've had the impact of deregulation of bus services, and that means that we've got a duopoly, we've got Stagecoach and Arriva, and they will simply exploit the most profitable routes. That means that people, certainly not just in rural areas, but in our estates, where there are no bus services on a Sunday, or bus services are very few and far between, it causes immense problems, and it's expensive. We'll hear it many, many times that people will often club together and share a taxi rather than get on a bus because it's so expensive. And we're seeing that in terms of the patronage across the country going down in bus usage, and that's exactly the wrong way for us to go. We've got to make that offer attractive. So if somebody's got a job offer at Teesport and they're living in Hemlington, they've got a job as a forklift truck driver, they need to be able to get from Hemlington to Teesport to take up that job opportunity. They need to get to James Cook Hospital. They don't need those bus services taken off, and they need to be able to get to their educational establishments. We've got to make it work for people and not just think about the 13% that Stagecoach extract out of their Teesside operation every year. We want to see that coming back in to provide proper public transport. And the Bus Services Act that Leanna referred to, it's actually not available to everybody. It's only mayoral city regions. We've got one.
Yeah.
So we should be advancing those discussions to think about enhanced partnerships with these companies or franchising, whichever way we want to go, so that we say where the buses go and we say what the prices should be. We don't have to be thinking about paying out to Brian Souter and his kind at Stagecoach.
So that is something that Ben Houchin, the Tees Valley Mayor, could fix.
It can. He's got. That's the whole point of the Bus Services Act, was to give those powers to city regional mayors and to say, look, you can have these new arrangements, because the Conservatives have recognised, and fair play to them, that they have recognised that deregulation of the buses, the free-for-all that we see, where it was just the survival of the fittest and drive the weaker companies off the road, literally. We've got that opportunity, and to re-regulate and get those better services, because it's recognised that it's not just beneficial for the environment, it's beneficial for our economy as well. We talk about congestion, we talk about pollution. Well, I think one bus takes 27 vehicles off the road, and we look at these traffic jams, we see one person in each and every car. And it's not that they're making an irresponsible decision. It's because there isn't a better public transport offer. So we've got to make sure that that's delivered. And of course, in economic terms, if you've got a mobile workforce able to get to places of economic activity, it's infinitely better. Your economy grows. So thank goodness there's been an early recognition that this has failed. We've got to start putting it right. But it's incumbent upon us in the Tees Valley to take hold of that opportunity and start to shape a better public transport system than the one we have now.
So when was the last time you got on a bus, Andy?
I'm getting on one in about 2 minutes, and I get one every week, and I get on a train every week. So I'm a regular user of public transport. The one thing I don't do, Mike, is get on my bike, and I've got to put that right. because I've got to get it dusted down and do that. But I use buses, I use trains. I use them I'll be using the train today as well as a bus.
Yeah, I'd love to come in from Darlington
Yes.
to work at BBC Tees, but there isn't a train early enough to get me here. So the first train out of Darlow into Middlesbrough leaves Darlow at 6:30, which is too late.
It is, and that's the very thing. We've got 660,000 people live in this conurbation, and how would it be if we could get people moving around through a better transit system, not just the buses as you described, but the trains as well. Now, if we can resolve some issues at Darlington Railway Station to lift that line out from within the East Coast Main Line, put it across to the east, sort problems out at Darlington Railway Station, sort problems out at Middlesbrough Railway Station, we can start the process of building a Tees Valley intra-network that we can get our people around to businesses, to schools, to shops, and to health facilities much better than we do now. We're way behind, and you and I both use the Pacer from time to time.
Certainly
it is just it's beyond a joke now, and that they are going, and it's not before time. But we need to bring ourselves into the 21st century and have a modern public transport system that's fit for purpose, and it isn't at the moment.